Hello students, welcome back to another video. This is Dr. Isha Beg right in front of you today with another paper. So today we will solve 0610 paper 22 for February-March 2023 Cambridge IGCSE Biology. This paper is a multiple choice paper and it carries 40 MCQs which you have to complete in a 45-minute duration. So beginning with the paper, question number 1 says, what is used as a means of classification? So students, you should always know that the classification is mostly and mainly done on the basis of the sequence of the bases or the sequence of amino acids or the sequence of genes in the DNA. All right? I'm repeating myself again, that classification is mostly done on the basis of the sequence of amino acid in the polypeptide chain or the sequence of bases in a gene or in the DNA. So according to this, the answer C, option C becomes the answer for this question. All right. Moving towards question number 2, how many jointed legs does an insect has? So insects have the 3 pairs of basically insects have 6 legs. So this makes 3 pairs. All right. So option B is the right answer. Question number 3 says the photomicrograph shows a cell from a type of an aquatic plant. Which labeled parts indicate that this is a plant cell? So the identification marks for the plant cell are number 1 and foremost is cell wall, and then we have the large vacuole, and we have a chloroplast as an identification feature as well. So we can see that in this diagram, Q is marking with the vacuole, all right, and S is marking with the chloroplast. All right. P is marking with the nucleus, which is present in almost all of the cells, a plant, animal, both. So this is not a distinguishing feature. So this makes Q and S, that is identifying or indicating that this is a plant cell. Question number 4 says that the diagram shows a red blood cell. The actual diameter of the cell is 7 micrometers and the image length is given 49 millimeters. We need to make sure that we are using the values in the same unit. So we need to convert 49 millimeters into micrometers by multiplying 49 with 1000 first of all. All right. Then the question says to calculate the magnification of the cell. Magnification is equals to image length over actual length. All right. So image length is 49,000 over 7. So the answer in this case would be 7,000, that is C. All right. Now, moving towards question number 5, which says that which molecule crosses a partially permeable membrane during osmosis. So osmosis is the terminology used for the water molecules only. All right. So this was pretty self-explanatory. Now, question number 6. The graph shows the rate of uptake of magnesium ions by 2 similar plants, X and Y. The roots of each plant were placed in a range of solutions. Each solution contained a different concentration of magnesium ions. All other conditions were kept constant. What is a possible explanation for the difference in the results for the 2 plants? So this is the concentration of magnesium ion in the external solution, and this is the rate of uptake, means the rate of active transport. In plant Y, the maximum rate is less than the plant X. All right. So what is the possible explanation? Let's start reading the options. Option A says plant Y has fewer carrier proteins for magnesium ions in its cell membrane. This might be the case. All right. Option B says plant Y has a higher rate of respiration. No, because if there was a higher rate of respiration, must be the higher production of the energy, and this does not affect the rate of uptake. All right. Now, option C says plant Y has more root hair cells. No. Option D says the root hair cells in plant Y have a lower water potential. That's not the case. So the answer is A, that plant Y has a fewer protein carriers for magnesium ions in its cell membranes. Question number 7. Which substance is used to test a food for vitamin C? So you should know that DCPIP is a substance that is used to test vitamin C presence in the food samples. Question 8 says, in the DNA, what is correct base pairing? So complementary base pairing, the rule of complementary base pairing is that adenine binds with thymine and cytosine binds with guanine. All right. So what is the correct base pairing? Adenine binding with thymine. So this is the option number D. All right. Now, Question number 9 says, what remains at the end of an enzyme-controlled reaction? So enzyme-controlled reaction, after the reaction has been completed, enzyme stays in its original state, and the end result is the product. All right, so the option A will be the correct answer. I hope this was clear enough. Now, question 10 says that, which feature explains the specificity of an enzyme? So specificity of an enzyme is based on the shape of its active site, that is complementary to the shape of its substrate. So option A is the only correct option in this question, that says that complementary shape of active site and substrate explains the specificity of an enzyme. All right. Now, question number 11, a plant is placed in the dark until its stored starch is used up. So they placed a plant in a dark room. In darkness, obviously, we all know that photosynthesis will not take place, no new starch or no new sugars will be formed, and the plant will always use the stored material, right? The plant is placed in light with black paper over the part of one green leaf. So they made the hole, this hole, and they covered the rest of the plant with the black paper, all right? So after 8 hours, the leaf is tested for starch. So what will happen? The plant is kept in the sunlight, so the sunlight will be shown on this area only. So the sugars will be formed in this area and in this area. All right. So starch will be present in this and this, in the red colored areas. However, starch will not be present in the black colored areas because no photosynthesis must be taking place, because light penetrance won't be possible through the black paper. So the plant will use up the stored starch in this area. All right. So what will be the answer to this question? The answer to this question will be B, which shows that the starch is present on the area that will be exposed to the sunlight. All right. I hope this was clear. Question number 12. The question number 12 says, the diagram shows part of a cross section of a leaf. This is the cuticle, you all should know. And this is the palisade mesophyll layer, because the parallel cells are tightly packed to each other and they're regularly arranged. And the T is spongy mesophyll layer, because it shows irregularly spaced cells with lots and lots of air spaces. All right. Which row shows the correct labels? I just told you the correct labels. R is a cuticle, and S is a palisade mesophyll cells, and T is a spongy mesophyll cells. So this is going to make the answer A. Moving towards question number 13, which has been labeled for you priorly. The diagram shows the different types of human teeth. So this is premolar and this is molar, and the question is about which teeth are used for grinding food. You all should know that premolars and molars are used for grinding food, not the canines and incisors, because they are used for cutting or tearing the food. All right. So the correct option will be 1 and 3 only. So 1 and 3 is making option number A. I hope this was clear as well. Question number 14 says, the diagram shows a villus. The structures P and Q absorb different products of digestion. P and Q. So one is the lacteal and one is the normal capillary network. Which row identifies the product absorbed by P and Q? So you should know that which one is the lacteal and which one is the normal capillary. I just told you that the thick one inside is the lacteal. All right. So this has the fatty acids in it. This absorbs the fatty acids. So Q will be absorbing fatty acids. So let's search on the option which is representing Q as fatty acids. Option number C is the correct option. All right. Now let's come towards question number 15, which says that the arrows show the movement of substances from soil into a root hair cell. Which substances move from the soil into root hair cell? So you should know that water and mineral ions are absorbed. This was a very easy question. We all know that water and mineral ions are absorbed through active transport from root hair cells in the soil. Question number 16. Which process does water escape from stomata in the leaf? So what is the process through which water is escaping as water vapors through stomata? We all know that the process is diffusion. The water vapors escape along the concentration gradient to the diffusion gradient, right? So through the diffusion process. So this will be the correct answer. Question number 17. Which row about circulatory system is correct? So one column is showing part that pumps the blood and the part with valves. Alright, so obviously part that pumps the blood will be heart, And no, blood vessels will not pump the blood because they are just used for transport of the blood. So part option B cannot be the answer. And the part with valves are heart and veins. You need to read the options very, very carefully, because some of the students might mark the C or might mark the D as the correct option because they would not read the options carefully. So you are the careful students. So the option A is the correct answer because heart pumps the blood to all parts of the body, and heart and veins both have the valves. All right. So let's mark this. Question number 18. The graph shows pressure changes that take place in the right atrium, right ventricle and left ventricle of a human heart when the muscle walls contract and relax. So these are the pressure changes. Pressure changed graph is drawn over here. What is the pressure in the right ventricle when the left ventricle is at maximum? When the left ventricle is at its maximum pressure. All right. So left ventricle, you should know the diagram is made in your book, and you should learn this diagram and understand the diagram. So you should know that this is the graph of the left ventricle. All right. So the left ventricle is maximum at this. So we have to check the time at which, we have to check the pressure at which the left ventricle is showing the maximum pressure. So this is a pressure at which the left ventricle having the maximum pressure. So this solid line is depicting the right ventricle. So let's see what is the pressure over here. So this is going to be 3 kilopascals. All right. So this is going to be the C option as the correct one. Moving towards question number 19. The sequence of amino acids and antibodies enables them to complete which function? So the amino acid sequences and the antibodies are basically forming the basis of the shape of their binding, of the shape of the active site. Antibodies also have the binding areas. They also have the active sites that are complementary to the shape of the antigen. So the sequence of amino acid enables them to bind to a specific antigen. All right. This is option A will be the correct answer. Moving toward question number 20. It says that the table shows some of the changes that occur during breathing. This is a table from contracted to relaxed, and this column is showing from relaxed to contracted state. So diaphragm, all right, so these are the letters given. Diaphragm, external intercostal muscles and the internal intercostal muscles. Now they're asking which changes occur to cause inspiration. So during inspiration, the diaphragm contracts, all right, and the external intercostal muscles also contract, whereas internal intercostal muscle relaxes. All right. So based on these findings, the answer would be C, which is X, Y, and R. C, X is showing the diaphragm is from relaxed to contracted state, all right, during inspiration. And Y is showing external intercostal muscles are from relaxed, converts from relaxed state to the contracted state as well during inspiration. Whereas internal intercostal muscles will be becoming relaxing in the relaxing state from the contracted state in the inspiration. So this is making X, Y, and R. That is the option C. Moving toward question number 21. The apparatus shown was used to investigate aerobic respiration in the seeds. The apparatus was placed in a dark room. Alright, so let's study the apparatus first. This is the test tube, and these are the seeds soaked in water. And this is a wire mesh in which chemical which absorbs the gas produced by the seeds is absorbed. This is a colored liquid, and this is a ruler. So the aerobic respiration in the seeds will produce carbon dioxide, obviously. Alright, and they will use up the oxygen. All environmental conditions were kept constant. What will happen in the apparatus? Alright, so gas taken in by the seeds, oxygen is taken in by the seeds during respiration. So the answer must be between the option number C and D. Alright, now the second column says gas absorbed by the chemical in the wire mesh. As I have just told you that the respiration will give off carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide will be absorbed in the wire mesh. So still we are clueless between C and D. We are confused between C and D. Now let's read the third column, which says the direction of the movement of the liquid, direction of the movement of colored liquid. So the direction of the movement will be towards the seed or away from the seed. Now we have to look at this. So what will happen? The seeds are using oxygen. They're using the air. They're using the oxygen. So they're sucking in the oxygen. What will happen? the bubble, the colored liquid will move towards the seeds, not away from the seeds. All right, because whatever is being produced is getting absorbed. All right, so the air is only getting sucked, not released. So this makes the answer C. I hope this was clear. Question number 22 says, why is yeast used in bread making? All right, so the yeast is used in bread making because during anaerobic respiration, yeast produces the carbon dioxide bubbles which help to raise the bread. So the answer is D, which says that anaerobic respiration produces carbon dioxide. All right, now question number 23 says, in the diagram, which label identifies urethra? So the urethra is the last part of the excretory system, that is C. All right. Now let's read question number 24, which says the diagram shows a reflex arc. Which label identifies a motor neuron? So this is a very easy question. Basically what's happening, when the finger will prick the pin, there will be a sudden impulse that will be transmitted through a sensory neuron. This is a sensory neuron, all right? And then in the spinal cord, the sensory neuron will transmit this impulse into the relay neuron, through relay neuron towards the motor neuron. So the effector impulse will be transmitted through the motor neuron to the effector muscle. So what is the motor neuron? The motor neuron is B. All right, because A is the relay neuron and D is the sensory neuron. All right, so the answer is B. Question number 25 says, which structure contains neurotransmitter molecules in the neurons? Obviously, vesicles contain the neurotransmitter molecule in the neurons. Now let's come up towards question number 26, which says that the diagram shows a seedling growing inside a dark box. This is a dark box. There is no light coming in the box. This is the shoot and this is the root. Now, which type of responses affect the direction of growth of root and shoot inside the box? In this situation, in the dark situation, there is no light coming. So this is the response by the root and this is the response by the shoot. Both of the root and shoot will be depicting the phenomena of gravitropism, not phototropism. Shoot will not undergo phototropism. Why is that so? Because there is no light stimulus present inside the box. So the answer will be A. Question number 27 says that why is an MRSA infection difficult to treat? Because MRSA, this is the full form of MRSA, is methicillin-resistant Staph aureus. This is a type of a bacteria that is resistant to some antibiotics. All right. So MRSA is resistant to some antibiotics, not antibodies. All right. So this is known as MRSA. The infections which are caused by methicillin-resistant Staph aureus are known as MRSA infections. So this option is, the correct option is C. Question number 28 says, what is the order of flower parts through which the pollen tube must grow to reach the egg cell nucleus during the fertilization? So we have to tell the pathway for the pollen tube growth to reach the egg cell. So the pathway is from the stigma, it grows through the style and then through the ovary and then inside the ovule. So this is part option B. All right. Now, question number 29 says, which diagram showing exchange of product between the mother and fetus is correctly labeled? All right, so we need to correct the label. We need to label the diagram correctly. So basically, this is the fetus. All right, this is the fetus, and this is known as the umbilical cord, and this is the placenta. All right, and the waste products are going away from the baby to the placenta, and the nutrients are coming towards the baby from the placenta. So this diagram is showing the correct labeling. So this is the correct answer. All right. Question number 30, which says that which statement about the synthesis of a protein molecule in a cell is correct? The gene option A says the gene coding for the protein moves from nucleus to the cytoplasm, not the gene. It is the mRNA that moves from the nucleus to cytoplasm. This is wrong. Part B, option B says ribosomes assemble amino acids into the DNA molecule. This is wrong. Ribosomes assemble amino acids into the polypeptide chain. This is also wrong. Option C says mRNA remains in the nucleus. This is also wrong because obviously it has to travel outside the cytoplasm. All right. Option D says the sequence of amino acid is determined by the sequence of bases in the mRNA. This is the correct option because the sequence of amino acid is basically determined by the sequence of bases in the mRNA through complementary base pairing. All right. I hope this was clear. Moving towards question number 31, which says, each statement describes cell division by mitosis or meiosis in humans. Statement 1 is, it produces cells that show variation. Number 2, it produces cells that are diploid. Number 3, it produces cells that are haploid. Number 4, it involves reduction division. So they are asking which statement describes meiosis. So meiosis is the name of the reduction division which produces haploid cells that are known as gametes, and they show variation. So according to this description, this is correct and haploid cell sentence is correct, and it is reduction division. So 1, 3 and 4 are correct. So are there any options which show that 1, 3 and 4 are the correct sentences? Yes, it is option number D. So question 32 says, in humans, what is the genotype of red-green colorblind male? So we all know that we all know that the color blindness is a recessive disorder, all right? It is an X-linked recessive disorder. So they are saying that what will be the genotype of an affected male? All right, so affected male genotype must be a single autosomal recessive, a single X-linked recessive allele. So this is shown by option D, because male's genotype is XY, and obviously C cannot be the option because C is showing dominant allele, and dominants are not the diseased persons because it is a recessive disorder. All right. Now, question number 33 says, which feature is found in a hydrophytic plant cell? Hydrophytic means water loving, or the plants that live in the water. All right. So the plants that live in the water have no waxy cuticle because they don't need to prevent the loss of water through transpiration. So that's why they don't have any waxy cuticle, unlike the plants which are habitual of living in arid conditions, in desert conditions, who have the waxy cuticle and who have sunken stomatas, and their leaves are also reduced to spines. So they have every adaptation that will enable them to reduce water loss through transpiration. All right. Now, question number 34 says, which statements are correct during both natural selection and artificial selection? So the natural selection in both of the, so they are asking that what is correct for both of the, what it applies for both of the selections. So in both the selections, alleles are passed to the offspring. So option 2 is correct. And in both the selections, there are certain individuals that reproduce who have the advantageous alleles, and the organisms which do not carry the advantageous alleles will not survive and they will die. So option 1 is also correct. All right. So 1 and 2 will be the correct options. Hence, A will be the correct answer. Question number 35 says, the diagram for the food chain. The food chain is the phytoplankton is eaten by zooplankton, and then it is eaten by a herring, and then it is eaten by a sea lion. Which diagram shows the pyramid of energy for this food chain? So the pyramid of energy is always in a hierarchical pattern in an ordinal manner, because the energy levels decrease after each successive trophic level. So the energy level is maximum at the first trophic level, then it keeps decreasing after each successful trophic level. So this is represented by option C. All right. Now, coming towards question number 36, in nitrogen cycle, what are processes 1 and 2? So this is a nitrogen cycle, and this is showing nitrogen in the atmosphere that is converted to the plant protein C. The nitrogen in the atmosphere is converted to the plant protein, and then it is converted to the nitrogen in the soil, and then again it is getting into the atmosphere. All right. One more thing, the plant protein is also converted into the animal protein. So what is process 1 and what is process 2? So nitrogen in the atmosphere is fixed by the nitrogen fixing plants in the process of nitrogen fixation. So D is nitrogen fixation. So process 1 is nitrogen fixation, that is only depicted in the D option. And process 2 is denitrification. Why is that so? Because nitrates in the soil are broken down into nitrogen compounds and nitrogen gases that are released again and back to the atmosphere. All right. So this is denitrification, and process 1 is nitrogen fixation. Question number 37 says, untreated sewage is accidentally released into a river for several weeks. How will this affect the number of bacteria, the oxygen concentration of water, and the number of fish? So untreated waste is getting released into the river for many weeks, and they're asking the effect of this disposal, inappropriate disposal, on bacteria, on the number of bacteria and the oxygen concentration right there. All right. So what will happen? The number of bacteria will increase, obviously, because untreated waste is getting disposed off into the rivers. And when the bacteria will increase, the oxygen concentration will decrease automatically. Yes or no? All right. And when the oxygen concentration will decrease, the number of fish that are living already in the water body will decrease as well. So the number of bacteria will increase and oxygen concentration will decrease and number of fish will decrease as well. That is option B. Now 38 says fish stocks can be conserved in various ways. Which method of conservation ensures mainly large fish are caught? So to make sure that large fish are caught, we have to use the nets of the minimum mesh size. So this is option C. Question 39 says, which component of bacteria is genetically modified to produce human insulin? So bacteria carry the plasmid, which is a circular DNA, right? So the plasmids are modified in order to produce a recombinant plasmid and to produce human insulin. I hope this was clear. Now, question number 40 says, fermenters must have carefully controlled conditions. Which condition has a correct reason for controlling it? Condition to be controlled. Supply of amino acid. Does supply of amino acid needs to be controlled? I don't think so. For option B says the supply of glucose. This needs not to be controlled as well. Option C says supply of oxygen. This also needs not to be controlled. So the factors that need to be controlled are pH and temperature. So in this case, pH is a suitable option to produce optimum enzyme activity. All right. So we need to control the temperature, pH, and pressure of the fermenters, not the nutrients present in the fermenters. All right. If you have any questions, you can always ask in the comment section below, and you can always email me as well. And so we will meet in the next video with the new paper. Till then, goodbye and good luck.